Hello everyone, this is Johnny with BallBreakers Clan, bringing you some more Ultimate Golf, presented by Ultimate Golf and Miniclip. If you'd like to join us and play along, you can find the link in the description below. You can also find links to other resources, other streamers in the description. If you'd like to join us and play along with us and be one of our friends on our friends list, you can see my code below my name there. Just type that in, and maybe we can play some friendlies or something sometimes. So what we're going to start off with today is the Ultimate Golf Tournament. It's a 9-hole tournament. It's got some decent ball rewards. So you have some Pro D1s and some Pro Trophy balls for the top 10. So even if I used 9 trophy balls, I would only be losing 3, but gaining some Pro D1s and some high flights. Let's look at our standings here to see what we need ahead of time. Hey John Bell, thanks for the good luck. Uncle Fungus, thanks for the good luck. How are you two doing today? So it looks like we're going to need a -11 with at least an 8100 tiebreaker. So as long as we stay consistently close, if we can drop 1 extra, we can take first place. So let's go ahead and get started. Get all my stuff adjusted here and ready. We also have our big shot, and in other tournaments there's the blue tournament, and we can replay the Golf Madness qualifier, but we already qualified. If for some reason we wanted to join it just to try to get Ultimate Cup points, we could. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first hole. Forgot to see how many replays we have. That's important to know, and whether or not they cost. So there are 25 replays and they're free. So what I'm going to try to do is get our eagle on the first hole. So if we can get an eagle out of the first hole, then we can kind of move on and do, not worry about, just worry about getting close for the rest of the holes. So that's an important aspect. If the replays, if you only need 1 extra, to take first place, then you can just kind of replay over and over again until you get that extra. So we got a nice little tailwind, so we're going to try to send it. And 25 replays remaining. Yeah. So it's always worth a shot to try to get it out. The first one lets us know in tailwind how we're going to roll, how we can use some adjustments. How our second wind is going to look. You never know, you could always drop that extra off the bat. Of course, not going to drop it with some grates like that. So we're going to go ahead and use our first replay. So now we get a massive headwind. Just going to automatically burn a replay. Not even waste a ball. We more than likely aren't going to be able to drive the green. But if we can get a nice tailwind or a crosswind, then we can use a trophy ball, get close, and try to wedge it in. So shooting in a headwind, not really, you know, we got 25 replays. Okay, so we have more of a crosswind here. So we're going to go ahead and switch to a better ball. Let's use one of these trappers. This will probably put us in short iron range without an overpower. So min short iron. Let's look at our slope here. Got a fairly flat green. Slight headwind. So we're not going to get a huge rollout. So I'm going to use 2.2 rings. So what I'm doing now, I'm trying to line up that secondary bounce, get it more in line with the pin. And we're going to go 1.5 rings. So we got a pretty large roll out there, and that's a pretty weak tiebreaker. So we're going to waste a ball and restart. It's 2 a.m. in Denmark. It's pretty late. So let's get into max wedge this time. Might still be in min short iron, but at least we know how much our rollout is. No, we're going to use max wedge. We're just going to stretch it out. It's still not great, but a little better. Let's go ahead and play. We'll save some of them if we need to replay due to a mistake. Maybe we'll get a drivable par 4, or a close drivable par 4, or a hole-in-one on a par 3. So I'm going to switch to the root, because this should put us at max root. Alright, so this is a power 8 ball. So I'm going to switch up, go to a power 9, just so we can be a little closer. See if I got a power 10. No, but I got a power 9 with a little more wind resistance. Yeah, I don't like that. Going back to the Hellfire. It's a nice thing about the way these are set up is I can look at that with that ball and other balls, and I can go back and change my mind. Be like, yeah, I didn't like that. So it's not in the best position for our clubs for making it easier to drop. But we should still be able to get it pretty close. Oh, I really delayed that release. It's like it took a few seconds after I pulled my finger up. It was just horrible. So we should be in short iron range, usually around max with this drive, unless we get a crazy roll. We got a crosswind, which is about 2 rings, roll out. So there's min. I'd say maybe 30% club. So it's a slightly uphill slope and a stunted bounce. So I'm going to do 1.5 rings. Now let's see if we can line this up. Okay, that looks pretty straight to me. Let's do 1.8 rings. Let's see if we can drop this, or at least get really close. About a ring too long. It didn't pull back as I expected. I expected a little more rip back. Now this hole can be trouble, as you can very easily drift into the rough. With a great shot like I just hit. Hopefully we still stay center enough that we roll onto the little shelf on the 3rd tier. Good. And if we rolled any further, we probably would have rolled into the left rough at the bottom. So max short iron and headwind. We can see a little bit of the ball guide here, and you can see it does rip back on this shot. So I'm going to close that in so it rips back a little closer. We got a headwind, So I'm going to set up a little further. I'm setting it so that if I go long, I'm going to bounce on the right side of the cup, and it should spin back almost center. So let's go 2.3. Gotta watch those double taps. My tablet is acting up. It's the second time I've had an auto release. Now we gotta burn the balls and a restart. Clean my screen a little bit more, but I just did that. Every now and then, it wants to give me these issues. I haven't had it in a few weeks, so I guess I was due. Yeah, I thought I had that one, Fungus. I felt pretty good about my lineup and my spot. So at this point, if it does it again, I'm just going to have to play through it, because we've reached the point of where it wouldn't be worth the balls. So last time we learned that this run long and drifted to the right. We also have a headwind, or a tailwind. So I'm going to set up just a little to the right of the cup, and quite a bit shorter. There we go. 2.4. I'm going to adjust 3 rings. Landed a little right of our aim spot, and a little left of our target. So we gave it a little too much offset. That's the hard thing without a ball guide, or a decent ball guide. I don't know exactly how far it's going to roll and how much it's going to curl closer to the hole. So we got headwind this time. I only have the one Ultimate Golf account, I mean, I do have a second device that if I wanted to open a second one, I could. But I'm not really worried about trying to have the multiple accounts and really dialing in shots and stuff like that. I'm just trying to see how competitive I can be from scratch on my own with this. So far, through the lower ranks, I've been holding my own. But in about 3 weeks, I'll be up there with the top tier, and we'll really get to see if I can compete or not. I mean, as far as it goes right now, I'm still winning tournaments. I'm still winning Royales. I mean, we have had a lot more close calls and a lot more worse finish. Okay, so there's minimum, there's maximum. Looks about 60%. Now, from last time we remembered, it didn't rip back that much, and we only had about a 2 cup or 2 ring bounce up. We set it at 1.5. So we're going to set this at 2.2. Try to line everything up all straight. And see if we can get a dropper close. Okay, that looks fairly straight. Let's go 1.8. As you can see, the roll out there. Just a little bit closer. Yeah, John Bell, if you want to, you can go ahead and put your friend code on there, and I'll pin it. So that way if Fungus wants to friend you or somebody else that comes in, so again, maximum short iron and headwind. Let's look at our guide here. Remember from before, the release, that it's going to rip back. Now our wind is going to the left, and we're going to have secondary wind effect. So I'm going to use a little bit of right spin to close the angle of the rip back. And we're going to use the right side of the pin. I'm going to give it just a little extra room. And we're going to go 2.2 rings. We do hit the ultimate shot. We were just a little off. If we wouldn't have hit the pin, we would have come in and slid back behind it like we were planning. But we caught that pin. About another 0.1 on our adjustment would have had it. I think they were working on it. Let me go ahead and pin that for you. There you go, John Bell. So if anybody that comes in and watches it, they can type that in. These uphill slopes really just kill any kind of rollout. So headwind, max hellfire. So we're not going to get much bounce at all and roll out on this at all. So I'm going to go ahead and set it at 2 rings. Or 3 rings, sorry. Great shot's not going to help us adjust, unless it was just barely. But a pretty good tiebreaker. Anything 740, 750 is not bad on a par 5. Still looking for that drop if we want that win. So we're at minimum hellfire. We saw earlier that we had about 3 rings on our bounce out. In the same similar win situation. Although that looks a little uphill. So I'm going to push a little closer. I mean, it flattens out, but if our landing spot is uphill, it's going to slow it down and kind of kill it. There we go. A little closer. Still might end up short. Yeah, still just a little short. Okay, so we have a crosswind with a max Bigfoot. Crosswind with Bigfoot is usually 1.8 rings. Just a little bit longer ball. There we go. This is uphill slope. And it turns to the left. I'm going to back off, 2 backspin. And I'm going to adjust 2.1 rings. Back off just a little more backspin because that was slight headwind. We hit ultimate shot. Let's see how well we come in. Good bounce. Just a little short and to the left. We're getting great tiebreaker points, but that's not going to give us the win if we don't get a drop. So this tends to run, and we got a tailwind. So I'm going to back off that top spin. We're going to try not to run into the rough. If we do, we have the Ninja at a fairly high level. But we should be well short backing off the top. 4.2. We're gonna go 2.8. So I'm gonna go 3, give it a little extra. Come on, rip back. There's our extra. That's what we needed. It jumps us way up the list. 81. So all we need is 300 tiebreaker points. Thanks for the boom, Uncle Fungus. So as long as we birdie this, we'll take the first place spot. So this one, they always like to set that pin right up front. But for once, it's in the middle of the green. Almost always, it's right here, and you're trying to play that little bump. Alright, so we're looking at max short iron. So we needed to be about right here. So I can give it overpower, or I can just let off on the backspin a little bit. We're just going to let off on the backspin and try to roll it up there. That looks pretty straight to me. Do 4 rings. There's 2. So it is a little bit more of a headwind. I'm going to pull off just a little more backspin. Okay, great. Thanks for the boom, John Bell. Get a nice, fairly high tiebreaker. Drop for the birdie, the minus 11, and the tiebreaker that should take us into first place. There we go. So right now, we're holding out if anybody does a replay, or if anybody decides to make a run for it. But we posted the first place score for now. Thanks, John Bell. I could use that for the Ultimate Cup and for the balls, that since we used a few extra balls. I still need 6 more wins. I think 6. 5 more wins in order to hit my 2K point in tournaments. So let's go ahead and take our big shot. Or see if we get lucky shot, because I have no clue how to adjust or play these generally. So we're going to do 4.2 rings. Just do 2 to 1. I'll take a blue. I pulled back a little further. Wasn't too bad. Some Hypnotics, a couple Mojaves. I don't know if anybody really knows, and since it's completely random which ones you get and which wins, doing guides for them, nobody's really tried. I mean, it could be something if you really wanted to dig into it. There might be an audience out there for it. So let's play a couple head-to-head. Let's change this ball first. I'm not going to use a special ball in head-to-head. I've got the coins. I don't need to worry about that. John Bell, if you want to log on, we can play a couple friendlies. Hopefully this ball clears that rough. Okay, good. From the back tees, a more basic ball like this does not clear. Oh wow, really messed that up. It's funny, you get decent wins during the holes, but these shootouts for this tour have been crazy wins. Not a bad attempt. Alright, so we're about to go into a shootout. This is more than likely going to be the Hellfire, because most of them have been the Hellfire. A few of them have been the Bigfoot. So it looks like our tee's in a pretty poor position. Not a lot of room for error. And as you can see, compared to the other one, like crazy high wind. So there's 4, 8, 0.5. You can see our opponent's pretty close. Hopefully we can hold closer. Oh, that's gonna be, yeah, I think I got it. Got him by 2 feet. So Mr. John Bell is logged on. So let me switch my ball to a basic ball. And let's double up your coins for you. I'll start the match so that way I can select the higher tier. Make sure you have some empty bag slots because you want to get these Tor 9 bags. Oh, well, we can only go up to Tor 7. So this is an interesting hole. If you have a tailwind or a crosswind, you can actually bounce it across this bridge, which is what I'm going to try to do here. Let's see if I can get across that. What happened, John Bell? Did you not make it? Oh, you made it across there. Your rough iron will reach. Now be careful on this green because it slopes pretty hard to the back. You might want to just play safe and lay it up short. Fungus. You know, not trying to go for it because if you go past it and slope down that hill, you know, you're going to be stuck. Nice job. I'm going to wait to see you put it out. Did you hit a grade on that? There we go. Just so you can have a practice at the shootout. We'll go to the shootout. Alright, so there's an upward slope on the shootout. If you hit this rough, you're going to stick in it. You're not going to come out. So you want to play this a little on the long side. So you're going to have to switch into your wood and use the max back on your wood. Set the bullseye up at the pin. Then you'll adjust and you'll push back 2 rings. So if I was to do this, mine would be 3.7. And then I would turn and I'd push back. And that looked like a really good shot. I didn't see how close you were, but it looked like you were real close. Nice, very well done. Fatality. Yeah, I may not have been able to beat that. I mean, that was a really good shot. Yeah, this hole is a tough one. Luckily, the pin position's in a good spot. So you just want to blast that drive. Get it as far down as you can. And then you're going to have to overpower your second shot a little because the tee's in the middle. Now, when the tee's in the front, that's pretty hard. With the root, you can go max overpower. You should be good. Greats either side. Nice job. Yeah, I've played this hole in a few of the Royales, and they always put the tee in the worst position for the Royales, which is right there up front. Now you just saw me shoot this one on the free shot. I'm just going to try to dunk it. See if it's dunkable. Which means I should not be close. Unless I accidentally dunk it. There you go. That was close. So that's the first time you've made that hole? Now in this hole, if you get in a tournament, it's drivable. Not as much in this wind and with the basic ball. But if you have a Mojave and you have a tailwind, you can drive this ball, this hole. And I'll often try, no matter what, if it's a tailwind, because I know I could probably drop it from the sand and rough as well. Nice shot. Curled right around that hole. Well played. Oh, it bounced out of the hole? Oh, okay. I didn't see it from there. It just looked like it rolled around it from our angle. So when we tried to dunk this a second ago, we ended up under adjusted. Alright, we're in the cup. Trick shot. It's really hard to dunk in this game. There are some people who have it down. Alright, so did that fill your bags, John Bell? You got 7 bags now? So if you do, I'll head on and play the blue tournament. Now, I will say, attempting this bridge shot in headwind, if you roll off to the side, you may be blocked. So, you know, in headwind, you're best just laying up. You have to make sure you have enough momentum on your drive to bounce and clear that bridge. No problem. My pleasure, John Bell. Now let's look at how this green slopes. Look at this, how much fast it turns on. Now you may want to go, if you laid up, John Bell, because you're going to pull short, it's a headwind. See how you land before I shoot this shot. Oh, you went rough. Ooh, you almost got that. Nice shot. Alright, let's see if I can hold this out. When you're that close with the ninja, it was in and out. When you're that close with the ninja, grates, you know, are safe. It's the reason I like the ninja. You could see how tiny the rings were. I can't get in a good enough position to try to dunk this. Very nice shot again. Oh, my pin bag is now full. And I completed a challenge from doing that. So I get to claim the pin bag. Get a ball, some cash, some coins. That Highlander gets up another level, that'll be nice. Alright, so let's go ahead and play the blue tournament. You're very welcome. Anytime. You ever get any trouble with coins, just ask. More than welcome to top you up. So let's take a look. So there's 3 par 5s. So non-mistakes is a -12. Let's see how full this is. So whenever you're looking at these, you see how that says amateur? That's just a dummy profile stuck in there to hold the spot. So as of right now, all of these are dummy profiles. There's hardly anybody currently entered into this tournament. So it's kind of up to us to set the score. Now these cost cash to replay, so I wouldn't replay it. You just finished your ultimate golf pass? Nice. So let's drive the green on this first one. We definitely got the wind to get pretty close to it. Ooh, just clearing that bunker. We're on the green. We just barely roll off. So we don't get all the nice extra tiebreaker points. I'm going to do a no adjust because we're pretty close. And we drop for an eagle on the start. So that's a good way to start the first hole in these blue tournaments. Of course, we're not the only one. You see the guy ahead of us actually got on the green. This one also. I don't know how he has the Eagle with 912. Thanks, John Bell. Alright, so we got par 3. We're going to swap down to a lower ball here. Or not. I'd rather be in the wood on that hole. So let's use one of these Pro D1s. Nope, still needs a little more. That was a 7% ball. Let's use a 9% ball. Just not gonna get there without overpower. So let's overpower it. Oh, we might be able to push up rings then. I didn't realize this was a tailwind. We're still gonna need a little overpower. Nice and close. Now these tournaments only give bags and not balls, so it's best not to really use a lot of balls on these. Try to use your lower level balls as much as possible, unless you really need to win for your ultimate pass, or you just have a lot of balls. So we'll probably have to switch to the El Capitan here, because this is a really long par 5, and I just don't think we're going to get the distance to reach with the Hellfire. We'll see. But with a headwind, yeah, there's no reaching that. Double headwind. We just kind of got screwed. We saw that other people were making that and getting on the green, which means they had a better wind. It's just bad luck. Not much we can do about it. Try to get our chip in, get as close as we can. And if we miss, try to pick up an extra. But yeah, getting headwind, both shots, pretty unlucky. So hopefully we can get up and get a really short wedge, but that's still looking about mid wedge if not further. So let's see what we're looking at here. So there's our max wedge distance. We put max top on our wedge. We're going to run up to the hole. We need a couple square shorts. Looks like we got some turn. Oh, made a mistake. Don't zoom in until you have your percentage. Alright. So right there is 55%. So we're going to say probably go 50% and reduce the spin. Because I want to land on the green. We can see how much turn there is on this. We're going to go 2.3 and hope that we can get lucky enough to drop it. We do get ultimate shot. We land in our aim spot. And we came in just a little hot and to the right. So we needed a little less top and a little more offset to the left. So we're going to drop a stroke there. It looks like we weren't the only one that got the bad wind. In double tailwind, you'll drive that. Alright, so we have this hole again. We drove it last time. We barely cleared in tailwind that bunker. Not going to be an issue this time, as we have a headwind. So we're going to overpower it. Because it's going to fall short of that bunker, and we should bounce over the bunker. Oh no. Miscalculation. I don't think we can get out of that bunker. Oh, yeah. Those are funny. Alright, so we're going to use max back. Look at the ball guide on this sand wedge. Beautiful ball guide. So there's our max club. So we are going to be shooting about 45% club. So I don't know if using the 45% and stuff like that really works with the sand wedges, but we'll try it. Worst case scenario, we're putting, we don't get our eagle. So we're looking at about 1.2 rings. We're going to shut up with our ball guide just short, aiming towards the center of the pin. Come over here. 1.2 rings. And try to hit perfect. We do hit perfect. That came out really weird. Look at it roll. It's like we just putted it up that hill. Well, we salvaged our birdie. We heard our tiebreaker score. Lesson learned. We'll keep that in mind for the next time we see that. That in a slight headwind, we're not going to get fully over that. Now we have to switch our woods back up again. So this will probably be those 3 holes repeated with different winds. And since we have a headwind, we want our Hellfire back in here. And then we'll probably have to switch back out for the par 5 and use the El Capitan again. So it's a headwind, it's an uphill bounce. We're going to go 2.1 rings from the landing spot. And hopefully that's a good rollout adjustment for this. So I got my first bounce lined up with the pin. Now I'm just trying to line up the second bounce with the pin. We're pretty close to min. 6.5 is going to be 3.7. Try to make up for our lack of tiebreaker on the last one. Alright, so we could have went another ring closer in the headwind there. Had a little bit of a laggy needle there. Glad I didn't let go. Alright, so we got headwind again. So we're going to go ahead and get our El Capitan in the bag. Because we already know that we're going to need it. No point in making our drive first. So not a great rollout. I'd like to know what kind of wind one of the opponents had there. I mean, he rolled out another 20 yards on us. A little bit further drive this time on the second shot. So we're going to be a bit closer on our wedge. The pin's in a different position. So there's our max wedge. We pull back. Put our top spin on. You're looking at about 42%, 40%. So we already know that this curls to the left. Let's go 1.6 rings. So the Ultimate Golf Tournament, is that the past tournament or the one we just played? Because if it's the one you just played, you get a few trophy balls. We'll back out after this and let you see. But it's trophy balls and regular balls. So it's a pretty good payout. Come on, get in there. There we go. Alright, so let's back out and I'll show you the reward prizes for me in the Ultimate Golf Tournament. Thanks, Fungus, for the booms. So in the Ultimate Golf Tournament, so for me, it's the Pro Trophy balls, some Pro D1s, and some High Flights. For you, I'm assuming you're Veteran. It'll be Veteran Trophy balls, Mojaves, and High Flights or Spiders. More than likely. So if you hit that little eye at the bottom right hand corner, it pulls up the information, and under the rewards you can see what the rewards are for the different tournaments. Now if it's a multi-level tournament, it's only going to show you the rewards for the final level. So whenever you are deciding what balls you want to spend, if you're trying not to overspend the balls you have, then you want to look at what you get in return to what you spend. So here, I'm not going to get any balls in return. So it's not overly worth it for me to be spending a lot on balls. So I'm going to try to aim for in this area right here. Hopefully this isn't a headwind. Slight headwind. So not terrible. A little bit of lag there. Great right I'd rather have than a great left. Hopefully we can get up nice and close. Have a nice short wedge. We didn't get on. Had I had maybe a better power ball or less wind, we might have gotten on there. Alright, so there's our max club. Got our max top on here. Again, we're looking at about 40%. Maybe in the 35% range. But we'll start at 40. And then we'll zoom in and decide if we want to back off. No. That's about the length of guide we want to leave. We do have a tailwind. I'm going to pull back just a little. Looks like there's a little bit of a glitch roll there, because we're going to get a heavy push. We're going to go 1.7 rings. We do get our ultimate. We'll see how well we line things up. Just a bit too hard. So we need to pull back even more on our setup. You know, we hit that cup enough to spin us around, but not center enough on the pin to drop it. When they get those glitchy guides like that, it's really hard to judge. Well, it looks like we have somebody behind us that's doing really well. Yeah, they drove the green really well on the first one. And the par 5 on the second one. So they must be getting really good wins. So the blue tournament doesn't look like we're going to win. Hopefully we can be fairly high, but we're definitely not going to win it. But it's not worth it for the replays. As you can see, it's 400 cash or one of your tournament tickets and no ball rewards. So I don't really put a ton of effort into winning these. Would have been nice to get those couple of drops on the ones where we hit the pin. You messed up the Ultimate Golf tournament. Remember, you got the restarts, John Bell. And those restarts are free. And you can play it all the way through. So if I was to hit restart right now, and I did not do better than I currently have, I would still have this score. It only replaces your score if you do better. So if you're like hole 8 or hole 9 before you mess up, go ahead and finish it out, submit the score, look at the ball rewards and whether or not you think you can get in the top 3, and then decide whether or not to replay it. Alright, so we got a tailwind. We're just under max. We're going to do the 2 rings. Can't tell if someone just dropped a hole one or if that was just from a putt. So we got 6.7. So we're going to go 4.2. Okay, I do have the max back on there. Slight grade on the right. We may not have been adjusted properly anyway. We had a good roll towards it. Again, just set up a little too short. So about 1.7 rings in tailwind with an uphill slant. Things I got to keep in mind for when I play these again. I really should start taking notes on these tournaments and on these holes if I really want to start dialing them in and getting the drops like the guys in the higher tiers. Knowledge is really your weapon in these games. So when I'm making guides for Golf Clash, I have all of my old notes and all the old tournaments that I've played that I've kept notes on. And we got headwind again. See, how did our one opponent drive the green with the headwind? Or not drive the green, but get the the headwind on the second one. Luck plays a little bit into it on these. You can do the replays to try to get the better wins. But for 400 cash, I'm not doing it. Let's look at the standings here. So we're at a 10. We're looking at an 11 or a 12. And you see there's already a couple 13s. A 12 is going to be a stretch. So there's no point in us pulling out a special ball. Pro D1s are going to start being the rewards for the tournaments in the pro level. So hopefully I'll build some of those up. So I'm not worried about using one of those up. I mean, maybe as I start to win a few more and get higher in tournaments, I'll have so many balls that I won't really worry about it. And I can spend them on these. But when we were looking at those scores, a couple of those guys drove the greens on these. So either their clubs are that much higher than mine, or they got a better wind. Now being this is pro, and the next level is Tour Pro, which puts you up with the best players in the game, you do have the possibility that some people are playing down. They actually had Tour Pro level or their Tour Pro level clubs, but because they know they can't really win, they're playing the lower tours just to get the wins. So we're at about 70% there. So we have 4.9 rings. Might come in a bit too hot on this. We hit our landing spot. And too hot. I wasn't sure how much the headwind was going to slow down that. I've only been using this club for a couple days, so I'm still trying to dial it in. So we end up with a -11. You know, we're down here in 10th. Not really the best. So let's take a look at this guy right here. So he drove the green on hole 4. Chipped in on, or drove the green on hole 1. Chipped in on hole 4. Drove the green on hole 6, which we couldn't even get close to. I don't know how somebody gets, I guess he drove the green on hole 7, because the only way to get less than 999 in the eagle is to have a super long putt. This person drove the green on hole 6 as well. Drove the green on hole 1. This one drove the green on hole 6 as well. So maybe I was just unlucky that I couldn't reach it. I mean, we're still looking at a diamond bag and some points for the country club. And we should get one first place today. So I'm going to go ahead, fill my pin bags. And then once I do that, I'll wrap up tonight's stream. And I'll probably stream a little bit more tomorrow. Oh, wait a minute, I need to switch my ball. And I need to switch my clubs. Put the Hellfire back in. I don't want to be shooting the shootouts with the El Capitan. And I have 41 of the Pro D1s. I could spend a few, but I'm not hurting on coins. So we got Banff Springs, which has a few holes that are really tough. I do find it weird that in this tour, your wins that you're shooting on your holes are half of what you shoot in your shootout. It just seems odd to me that you're going to be shooting at the hole with winds around 6 or 7 and then having 17 and 18 shootout speeds. That's a big difference. I swear that looked like our opponent missed that putt. So 15.8 headwind. Don't have a lot of room to adjust on that. We need about 10 rings, and this is uphill, so it's not going to go very far. Probably should have let off some of that backspin. That's probably going to cause me to lose this. And the fact that I also couldn't adjust enough rings because it kept pushing it back over to the left. So we're going to try to play this to where we're going down the hill. Hopefully if we do roll the rough, we can still reach. But I was trying to use the curl to keep it out of the rough. Our opponent went into the rough. But it looks like they reached with the rough iron. That ripped back, that was dropping. Just a little too flat. Yeah, when the ball goes in and out, it's the worst. You hit that pin and it bounces off, or it twirls around the cup. Alright, so we have a high sloping, so we're not going to get a lot out of our bounce. We're near max. Oddly, we have a low wind after we just made the comment about the winds. Our opponent went a little long. We hit great and got a hard bounce. But we got it just by a few. So that's one. And another gold bag. I've checked before, but as you can see, like, you can't use other fairways for your shot. Because a couple times I thought it would be maybe easier to drive a different fairway and have a better angle at the green. But it keeps you within your area. Nice shot by our opponent there. Hit the pin. Bounce back out. I gotta quit hitting greats. Those little green dots you see on the green is where our opponent landed. The first one is where he bounced before hitting the pin, and the second one is where he bounced after hitting the pin. So if you're ever trying to figure out your adjustments on your short irons and stuff, you can look at those little spots on the green that are left when you land, and you can kind of fine tune your adjustments. Alright, so looks like we're in between clubs. So we need 4, 5, 6 push up on that. So we're gonna need 11.4 rings out of this, and then we'll go 6 ring push up. 4, 8, 11. We'll just push the max because we're almost out of time. And we timed out. I'm not sure if we would have been close enough to beat our opponent. I really don't feel like we were taking that long. We were in line. Here's that shootout that I was doing with Mr. John Bell, except for with crazy wind. So 17.6. It's going to be what, about 10 rings? Oh, and we're going to hit the minimum. I'm just going to fire it. Our opponent's too close, and we don't have enough time. Would have been nice. When you get stuck in between clubs and you make a shot selection, you know, you don't have much of a choice anymore. He ended up, you know, he had a better long iron and he had the longer ball. So that made a difference in that shootout. Because as I started adjusting, you know, I didn't have enough to pull 10 rings from my club. And you definitely don't get enough time to readjust and redo your aim. I mean, it wasn't so bad in lower winds, but when you start getting 17s and stuff, it's a bit harder. I mean, 10 rings is the entire length of the Hellfire's range. Some do, yes. I don't know if our opponent really has the best ball for the shootout here, because I think that's about the same wind as mine. So we got the same shootout. Tee's in the shorter location, but yet the same crazy wind. So I'm going to need about a 2-ring push-up. So we're going to go 11.4. And then I'm going to push up. I'll go ahead and push up 3. Just to give myself a little wiggle room. We hit the front. We were about a yard short. If I pushed up a 4th ring, we would have been better. But we got lucky. Apparently our opponent hit further down. Let's go ahead and get one more to close that pin. Get our 20 cash here. See, our opponent's playing with the pro level trophy ball, so he'll have nice and low wind. His wind will be reduced about 50% less than mine. Yeah, on this hole, from the front tees, I've tried using this cart path to bounce on the drive and get up on the green. It's pretty funny. We drove a little too far. So we're just going to have to sit up in min, underpowered a little bit. Hey, William Thomas, how you doing? How's your day been today? Thanks for the good luck. We're just finishing up on our stream. We need one more win on head-to-head, close out my pin chest, fill up my bags, and I'll end for the night. But thanks for popping in and saying good luck. So 13.7. A little bit lower wind than we've had the last couple times. Let's set up here, use some spin. I'm gonna go 7.6 rings. A little bit more kick to the left than I wanted. Yeah, our opponent got us. You know, when he's dealing with about 4 wind, it's going to be a lot easier for him to play that shot. Let's claim our pin bag. Get our free cash. Let's see how bad Tor 9 is hurting our stats. Yeah, my head-to-head's now below 60%. Let's change up our bag and play this free Royale. So that's one of the interesting things on this game, is if you get frustrated with one aspect of it, you have multiple other play modes that you can just switch to keep on playing. You know, if you get frustrated with tour play and golf clash, what I have to do is switch over and play a different account, because sometimes you just get those bad runs and it's always on one account. And luckily I have multiple accounts, so I can just switch accounts. But if you don't have multiple accounts and you're having a bad run, you're just going to keep playing that bad run, or you're going to quit and come back in a couple days. At least here, if I get frustrated with tour play or frustrated with tournaments, then I can play Royales or play, one of the other things. Hopefully there's not too many non-wedge shots. Somebody dropped a nice one. Somebody else dropped one. A little too much grate. I can use 2 bars of grate to adjust for 7 right. Too much power. So what I'm doing on some of these, especially the wedges, is I'm just using the grates to kind of offset the wind, so I don't have to waste time adjusting. And sometimes I just don't get it right. Oh, that hurt us. Pin sent us flying. Well, we got the lead now, so we just need to maintain it. There's us a drop. That'll help. As you can see, I used 2 bars grate. Kept it nice and close that time. I didn't get the putt off. That would have been a nice for our tiebreaker. I should have just released it. But we got a win. 15 shots. Should have taken about 16, 17. Some club cards and coins and club points. So what I may end up having to doing in order to compete a little better in Tour 9, you know, I don't like only winning, you know, 50%. I may have to start shooting better balls. Not, you know, trophy balls or stuff like that, but maybe the Pro D1s or the Mojaves. Alright, so the same one we've done before. We got a crosswind, so we'll be able to use our Hellfire, and we'll need 9 rings. That's another problem with using the smaller balls. It takes so much time to adjust the rings that you lose a lot of your shot choice time. So you really need to make your decision and shoot quick. There we go. That'll give us our win. We'll fill out our chest or bags, and that'll end it for tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out. I will see you probably tomorrow for some more tournament play. Good luck in whatever you're playing. Thanks for hanging out.